once again, I'm excited to be here. My name is Richard Graham. I am in charge of communication, corporate development, and a few other things in the back end for a number of companies. And one of them is obviously Tarachi Gold. A name to mention that is not on our presentation today is Michael Connor. He is an advisor on the board. Important to know who he is. He is the CEO of Vizsla Resources, which is a very successful silver exploration company. Michael supports Tarachi Gold with both financial experience and knowledge experience in the industry. Now, Tarachi Gold, before I even get into the company, we've been quite excited about this bull gold run. It's been performing quite well. There's a lot of junior exploration companies that are getting the praise that it does deserve, with the market buying and the way gold price, per ounce has been accelerated. Many can say COVID has played a role. I kind of want to share the message that I don't think COVID caused the bull run. I think COVID encouraged it. Obviously, with money being printed in the industry, or in the population for relief for those who are affected by COVID, that money printing, from the Federal Reserves, in the U.S. And in Canada has been a impact into the gold market, and silver has followed suit. Yeah. So, and one common question that I've been faced with a lot of investors is, once there's a proper vaccine, once there's something that kind of calms COVID and brings us all back to a safe place, does this bull run go away? And the answer is absolutely not. We believe this gold run will be here to stay for the next 2 to 3 years. As far as early January, a lot of analysts, a lot of companies, big firms have all, we're all kind of skeptical to say gold would be, 2000, and here we are. Gold hit 2000 a couple months ago. I think it was 2060 per ounce, and we were all very impressed. And then now, many are confident to say that gold price will continue to go up on the spot chart at least. Tarachi Gold is a unique company. Before I get into the details, Lauren, are you with us?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Awesome. I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
So good. So Lauren is the CEO of Tarachi Gold. He comes with a ton of experience in junior mining. I'd like to note from his exploration and from his expertise of being in the field, many of these companies have gone into production. So he's seen stages from, buying an asset, having nothing to all the way down to production. So for those who are not new to the industry, that means a lot. It's a lot of experience that he brings to the board. I'll let him talk more about why he wanted to be a part of Tarachi. And I'll hand over the mic to him. And thank you all very much for being a part of this. And thank you, Red Cloud, for setting this up as well. Lauren, I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you, Richard. I joined Tarachi earlier this year. I was working on a few other projects throughout Canada and the world, but I started to get to know the team. And actually, one of the key aspects, having worked internationally, was the fact that they had a really good management team in Mexico that could certainly help us get the work done. That is so key when you work internationally, that you have a good team. But also the management they had here and the projects that they had acquired to date, they're great projects. They are projects at the level I like to see them at, where they've had some exploration work, some systematics have been done, a few drill holes, they have some good numbers, but what does that all mean? And that's where I like to step in on some of these projects and start working towards developing them further, get a good understanding of what's going on, and start to make some resources and hopefully some reserves. So I would just like to start to go through this presentation here, if you don't mind. Just have to go through, there's the disclaimer, as we have to present in every sort of case through here. I'm the qualified person as well. I'm a PGO, and we've got a great group of, like I say, management and directors that work with us. So the highlights as listed through here, which you can see here, basically in the fourth section down, there's some previous drill intercepts. So you're getting 5 ounces over 5 meters. You're getting a lot of other good intercepts happening through there. Recently, we just announced on August 20th that we, from our channel sampling when we were working underground, we came up with 6.34 grams over 62 and 0.55 meters. We'll talk about that more later. We own 100% of the properties in Mexico, subject to option agreements, in a really good area which is known to produce a lot of gold in the past and silver. Good deposits occurring through there, so the area is known to have good deposits, and the people in the area are used to this sort of scenario as well, which is key. There's the management team. So I stepped in as the president and CEO. Martin Belagic, he's a great CFO. He's done a lot of work in the past. He understands what it takes to keep the company going. Leighton is one of our directors, a lot of experience, and he comes with good guidance. Brian is also another great director. He's down in Nevada. He has his own exploration company as well. He's really a good guy to talk to about any sort of other concepts you might be thinking of. And then Michael, he's an advisor to us now. He was originally the president CEO of Tarachi. He's now the president CEO of Vizsla. And if you look through there, you see his track record. He's excellent. He's very good at helping the companies develop and move to the next level. Capital structure. From our last financing, we just closed a financing now last week where we raised just under $10 million. In our treasury, we now have over $10 million. And we have about just over 60 million shares outstanding. And if you look in the bottom, the major shareholders, you can see that management and net worth, we have a lot of people that are with us on this company that have large positions. Okay, so Tarachi Gold. So we're in the Eastern Sonora district. Production, as you can see, last year for 2019 was just under 500,000 ounces of gold. In this whole district, for example, historically, there's about 80 million ounces of gold that are categorized in resources or reserves or has been produced. Also, 1.5 billion ounces of silver. So when you want to be, if you're looking for deposits, go into areas where known to develop these type of deposits. And in Mulatos, I don't know if you see my mouse through there, but Mulatos, we're very close to Mulatos and a lot of the other deposits as well. Mulatos is only about 6 kilometers east of one of our projects. Just this slide here provides you with some of the mining in the district in the East Sonora. And again, some of the bigger companies are listed through here and their production rates that they have in 2018 and what the reserves stood within 2019. So again, we're in a good camp, in a good position. So our projects, this is a closer look. We can see the colored claims to their concessions. These are our concessions as they stand right now. And you can see that we're in the trend that everyone's been looking at. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the Mulatos mine. And that distance, for example, from the mine to Abella project is only about 6 kilometers away. So we're on the trend. We're in the area of the right rocks and structural settings. Again, regional geology, and Mexico's pretty straightforward. You're looking at your felsic volcanics, your intermediate volcanics, younger ages, nothing like what we have in the Timmins camp where they're billions of years old. These, you're looking at just tens to maybe up to 100 million years in age for some of the older rocks for the area. And again, where you have your plutonic activity, where you have large-scale, structures with secondary structures crossing those, that's a pretty key area. Probably relationship where your intrusives come in and where you have these intersecting structures is one of the features that help develop some of these good deposits that we're seeing down through there. And the mineralization that we're basically looking at for is high sulfidation epithermal, which I just included in this PowerPoint presentation just for you to see. That's just a standard feature through there showing you where the mineralization, which is in the black. For the most part, you can see subvertical and horizontal. Most of the mineralization we're looking for or have seen so far is in the subvertical orientation. So Tarachi North, as we call it, we have three concessions to the north that where we say, again, there's been previous work done on them where there is some drilling, where some drill intercepts, where basically look at the green lines, you see northwest orientation, also north-south orientation. The areas of these type of structural complexities is exactly what you're looking for. And right next door to us is the Tarachi deposit, which currently stands at 363,000 ounces of gold in resources. And basically, as it's been trending towards the northwest, it's gone undercover. It's in the valley, and they don't know exactly how far it does extend at this point in time. In a little more detail, give you an example of the drill intercepts and things that we be working off of. We have, for example, in a drill hole here right near surface in these felsic volcanic domes, 34.5 grams over 5 meters. You come down 50, 60 meters, you've got another intercept of 24.3 over 3. It's open in this direction to the north. We still picked up some gold, a less amount. You could be up high in elevation, for example, or the intersecting structures are more to the south. These are the things which we have to look at. Where in the last month or so, we've had 3 geologists, very senior geologists, going through and remapping, sampling, and developing the models to help us with our upcoming drill program. In more detail, you can just see here in the North Pretoria, again, a lot of mineralization does occur along some of this north-south structure, mapping, looking for those northwest coming in. These are the things that you look for. The guys that we're working in the field have come up, as you can see, up in this area through here, top of the slide, where you're picking up those northwest structures very similar to the Tarachi Nico Eagles gold deposit sitting through here. So again, very close proximity to known mineralization. Just the details we're seeing through here. One of the things not mentioned, we are focusing on our higher grade structurally controlled mineralization. At the same time, though, we do have some breccia zones and some lower angle structural mineralization where previously some drill intercepts came up with approximately 0.4 grams per ton gold over 67 meters and also 0.36 grams over 20 meters. We have been investigating those through the mapping, looking to see and develop drill targets on those as well. To the south, the Abella project, this is the area for which there had been some historic mining taking place where they estimate about 150,000 tons, averaging 3 grams, was extracted. There's been a series of underground sampling programs in the past that were undertaken where they had come up with some very good grades, but they didn't complete it all, nor did they really do the details as we did. We bought saws, we went underground, we channel sampled from one end to the other, and taking basically almost what is like a drill core down the eastern side of the drift, and we came up with what we announced last week: 6.34 grams per ton over 62.55 meters. Great intercept. What we found through the mapping is that we have these hydrothermal breccias. Although there is a major north-south structure in this area, we have hydrothermal breccias trending near east-west, dipping steeply to the south, that seem to be containing the mineralization. And when we look at the next slide, just we're trying to get that developed from our geologist. This is the same underground workings, actually showing more detail. The red arrow line represents sort of the length of the area of the sampling that occurred, that came up with that 62.5 meters of mineralization. That actually occurred along this side of the drift, but what you can look and see is that where they've identified, you see those breccia patterns, most of the grade, almost all of the grade is contained in those. And these are hydrothermal breccias, and that we have identified through the sampling contained mineralization. And for example, in this area here, we've identified 6 so far. Limitations, of course, we're working through the underground. This is a key area, key development for us, where we're looking at probably doing a lot of drill testing to follow up on this. The rhyodacite in this area, we believe, extend to at least 70 meters towards the intermediate volcanics beneath. That area has never been drill tested. We'll be getting to that hopefully soon. Again, Abella, this is just a stepping back further, taking a look. What's key point here to look at is that for the most part, people have been focusing on the projected north-south structure, which wasn't really located where this map shows, and drilled east-west. So it's very difficult to do assessments of what's going on in that area, drilling in that orientation. You should be drilling more north-south, or in fact, probably a little bit to the north-northwest, drilling from south to north. That would be one of the first times the area has been drilled in that orientation. So the pictures here that you see shows us with the saw cutting underground, identifies the channel samples that were taken, how it was done. And so this was the program that started in June, ended about August 15th. We were able to compile the data. We did our geological field work, which was basically a lot of detailed lithological and structural mapping and sampling. At the same time, we had a junior geologist out there looking at and developing the permit applications for us, and we worked through that and with the local people, and we have now got all our drill permits, so we're looking to start drilling next week. Let's say we're going to be drilling about 5,000 meters, what we got planned right now. And then, of course, from that, we will follow up. And with the recent financing at over $10 million in our treasury, we can keep drilling for quite some time. So, to sort of wrap it up, some more pictures of rocks. Guess what? I'm a geologist. I got to keep throwing those in. Great area. We're in the right geological setting, regionally and locally. We have the required structural orientation of structures that have led to a lot of the deposits in the area. We have a very good experienced team in Mexico that helps us a lot with being able to get our work done, especially in these times of COVID. We have our own testing stations now. We've set that up. So we're right on top of things. We haven't been slowed down that much from COVID, although I would like to be down there basically for a lot more. But with COVID, I'll get there eventually. I guess maybe I'll just have to live there. And then, so our 2020 program, we've done our field work, data comp. Now we're going to start drilling. I would say we'll keep drilling probably into November. Most of our drilling actually is now going to be an HQ size core based on our sampling and the various types of analytical procedures that we've carried out. We've noticed that when we use total metallic assays after doing our original fire assays, that all grade levels, whether high grade, medium, or low, the metallics brought up the grade on average about 13%. It's kind of interesting. Usually the high grades will come down, the lows might come up a little bit. Our share structure is fairly tight. We have a lot of people, insiders, and that who have a good position. Like I said, we have over $10 million in the treasury. One of the things I have not really mentioned, other than we'll get to the term deals here, is that although we're talking about the projects we have, I want to note that we're still an aggressive company. We are in this young gold bull market. If there are other projects in the area for which we like or we've been looking at, we may be acquiring more projects, as well as aggressively working on the ground that we have. In the term deals, what we've been able to do is back end a lot of our option agreements, so it gives us a lot of time to take a look and find out what's going on and develop the resources prior to, or at least having a very good look at what's there before the fourth anniversary date, where the payments significantly increase. So good deals for us in that regard, in terms of putting the money in the ground before we have to give it to the vendors. And that's basically the end of my part of the talk, just going through the PowerPoint presentation. If people, I say there's a lot going on with this company, and I hope I've answered any questions there for people. The financing, our last financing was at 40 cents with a warrant at 70 cents. Richard, that warrant I think is good for 2 years.
It is.
Yep. So that was our last financing. The stock has done well. I think it's a fact that we are pretty aggressive. Things are going along pretty good. Yes, we have a good gold market, but I think our company has been working hard and advancing as quickly as they can on all fronts.
Okay. Apologize. I know I'm picking up an echo here. I'm not sure how to adjust that. Maybe we can get some help from our technical guys. Actually seems to be dissipating now. There's also a question about an OTC listing for the company. Is it OTC listed, or is it something you're planning? If so, what's
We've applied. It's a process that is not in our control. As soon as we're able to list on the OTC, we most definitely will.
Okay, great. And Lauren, you talked a bit about insiders of the company and employees and directors owning the company in their portfolios. Do you have an aggregate insider ownership sort of figure?
Percentage in terms of the insiders, we think that we're in the, let's say, at least 40% range of the current outstanding shares are held by insiders or, in friendly hands.
Okay.
Just to make a comment on our last finance, we originally wanted 5 million, but given that it's a bull market in the gold, there's been a lot of support, and we were able to close 9.4 around those numbers. These are a lot of the participants here in Vancouver are very close to the company. A lot of it does come because of the support from Vizsla Resources as well. And Vizsla Resources is still a part of our backbone. So as far as needing to get things done or needing to put money in the treasury, we have a tremendous amount of support that way.
Great. Question online asking about any royalties on the properties.
There are some NSRs on some of the properties, I understand, but most of the NSRs we have a buyback so that we can take them down to at least 1%.
Okay. Great. Now, your drill plan beginning at Habali is, you stated about 5,000 meters. And I think when we spoke previously, you said the plan after that 5,000 meters was potentially to move up to Tarachi North. Is that still the thinking?
No, well, the 5,000 meters really covers the whole, all the concessions right now. So what we're trying to do is, like, say we'll start in the southern projects, drill test down through there, and then we'll move the drill to the next project. Let's say we drill 1,000 meters on Abella, and then we'll move to another concession and start drilling there, and moving around enables us then to get the assays, all the work done, the assays in, see what's going on, and so that we have plenty of time then to reorganize, come back, and start working on maybe extending the zones along strike or to down dip based on what we get from our initial results.
Right. So you can base your further drilling on the assays you got from earlier.
Yeah. It just gives us more time.
Right. And it'd be fairly easy to move the drill around between these two areas. I imagine it's kind of sort of flat-ish desert terrain.
No, you would think so, but it's rolling like a foothills type scenario. But there is a lot of roads in the area. But with the previous work that's been conducted through there, and there's landholders in the area that have the roads where we have the permissions from them to be able to enter the land and be able to use those roads and areas for drilling.
Right. And one of the questions we often get from stories in Mexico are around the ejidos, or the community sort of organizations around there. But I think, if I remember, that's not something that affects Tarachi.
Well, no, those exist in Mexico, and when you're like applying to the government, it could take, like, let's say a month for your environmental permit to be put through. The ejidos, they can take like 3 months, 4 months to get completed before you get everything finalized, so you can start working. And this is the really good point of why I'm happy with the management we have in Mexico. They're very experienced, and they know a lot of the people. And so as we were mapping, they were already in discussions with them. We had the formal meetings. We have contracts. It was done in, say, instead of 3 months or 4 months, it was done within a month. So that just makes you happy when you know you've got management down there that can handle these things well and quickly.
Great. Could you tell us a bit about the opportunity for these properties? How did it come about? Was it through some people that you knew, or a network of people that you know?
It's a network of people prior to me. If you went, they've basically been holding on to this land for some time. If I come to the market 2 years ago and say I've got a gold property and I want to do some exploration work, no one would have cared. So they've been holding on to these projects for a while, and it's the phases that we go through where, okay, no one cares, and so they're able to acquire the land, pick it up, hold on to it, get a nice land package. The people, with Tarachi, to start there, they're going through and said, getting discussions with them. We met with the management people down there, and these all just work together and meshed very well as one. And that's basically the story. The land packages were developed. We're developing them a little bit more right now, but that is the key scenario, what it took place. It's just how the market goes when 2 years ago no one cared, and so they were able to pick up a lot of the land.
Just to add to that, Vizsla, obviously, their flagship investment project is down there in Mexico as well. They had access to a number of land packages. Michael Connor had a relationship with one of the vendors. I believe it's Benjamin. His name might be slipping me. It's a powerful family down there in the Sonora area. And Tarachi specifically didn't fit what Vizsla was trying to do as a silver company in Mexico. So Tarachi, just to echo what Lauren has mentioned here, became, the viable opportunity to kind of branch out on its own.
Right. Okay. There's a question from online asking about the breccia that you've seen, that you talked about. In that breccia mineralization specifically, is there any copper that you're seeing? And if so, what kind of grades have you encountered?
Well, we're pretty much high level, next to no copper. Also, if you want to look at the gold silver ratios, there's about 3 gold per every silver, so we're very low in the silver content as well. So I think the question is leading towards, like in these epithermals, they call what's a boiling point, and basically the good mineralization is there and up. We think we're still in the upper levels of the system itself. That's why we believe we have legs to go down that depth, because at that sort of boiling point area is where your base metals will start to show up, and we're not seeing any appreciable concentrations at all.
Right. Okay, so what levels into or below surface? I know that when we spoke before, you mentioned that the underground stuff is really an adit that's driven into sort of the side of a hill. What is the depth from surface that those underground workings are at?
Well, you're right. They portaled in on the side, put an adit in. They basically mined at that elevation and up a little bit. So from there down, there's been really no work happening. There was maybe another little lower portal to the side there that came in, and that's it. So I say we figure we have about at least 70 meters down to the next rock type, for example. And that contact there could be very interesting as well, because you have a sort of chemical contrast going on now. You're in the right temperature and elevations based on the fact that we're not seeing those base metals. It'll be pretty neat to get some drill holes down there and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was the kind of thing where these previous operators probably saw something on the surface on the side of a hill and then just drifted and followed it, weren't really drilling deep at all.
Exactly. I mean, way back 1930s and that, when and that's before this work. But basically, yes, people didn't do much drilling. They saw some mineralization and they started drifting in.
Mm-hmm.
Got some mineralization, you might as well take it to a mill somewhere.
Yeah. So what? Obviously, you want to get to that next rock unit. So, are you sort of planning to do 100-meter or 150-meter holes to start with?
We will be starting, yes, on the first phase down there, we will be angling holes to be testing that lower horizon, looking to find where it occurs, these structures may intercept it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a priority.
And when we last spoke, I think I was asking about if you were going to be using just one drill or would you use two? And I'm not sure if that was decided at that point.
We will start with one drill, and then that's where it gives us the ability to drill an area, move the drill off, give us times to look, get the assays, think what's going on. This is our first drill program through the area, so we want to make sure we're looking through things, understanding everything. Lithology is one, understanding your structures. Usually you're looking for intersecting structures, so you want to see if you're close or where to be. And so until we get this first phase done, let's see, first 5,000 meters, we'll stick at one. If we also call for two, that's just good news.
Yeah, you don't want to drill faster than you can really correctly or properly analyze.
We don't want to drill faster than we can think.
Yeah. Okay, so I think maybe we'll just do one more question and wrap it up here. There's a question from online asking if you've come across any arsenic in the system yet, or other potential deleterious elements.
We do run for every bit of any samples we collect. We run a gold fire assay and a metallic, but also an ICP package, which includes your arsenics, your mercuries, antimony. All those are included, and you see it. It's anomalous, nothing spectacular for high concentrations, but certainly, top of my head, I think like the highest arsenic we had was 2,000 parts per million. But at least but that's useful information because it tells us kind of like whereabouts in the system we may be located.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll look forward to seeing some results in sort of 4 to 6 weeks, I guess. And we'll call it a day here. I'd like to thank Lauren and Richard for being with us today.